We're going live. We're going live. We're going live. We're live. We're live. Welcome, everybody. Hello. As you're coming in, say hello in the chat. Want to know if you're here. We just can't decide what time we're going live here this week, but that's fine. I'm happy that we're here. Anyway, I'm going to give a couple minutes, as I always do, for people to make their way, get the notification, see it. Their lives are changed. They think, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go watch John. And for us to have a little question and response, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to come into the chat. I'm going to say hello. I'm going to let John know that I'm here. I'm going to answer his question, whatever it may be. I have a question for you all. So I put out this question on Twitter, also on Instagram today. True or false? We can have differing beliefs, but still have the same faith. I think I said some differing beliefs. I think that was the verbiage that I used. So that's my question for you all today. Do you think it's possible, true or false, for us to have some differing beliefs, but still have the same faith? And I'd love to hear why, true or false, specifically if you say or not to have differing beliefs from someone, but still have the same faith. Let's see. Let's say hello to some people who are here. Welcome, Alex. Welcome, Jacqueline. Welcome, Jimmy the Dragon Slayer. Thank you for your work that you're doing, slaying those dragons. We so appreciate it. Lauren Clapman, Carlos Cook, Bumika is here. Damien is here. Austin is here. Austin says false because there is one faith. Whereas C. Joseph, Cole says true as long as the core beliefs are in line. Let's see. Nathan Ramsey says false. Believing and not believing Jesus is God, different, and that basically is a different faith. The Box V4's family is here as well. Good to see you. Good to see you all. AH is here. Sudia Atkins, Chloe Games is here. Nicole Marie is here. Isaiah is here. Awesome. We got a good crowd going today. Isaiah says true as long as you believe Jesus is the Savior and the Son of God. Bhumika says false because there is only one God. Araminta says hi. Hi everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is a great topic. I really have been thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking a lot about the difference between faith and beliefs, and is there a difference between the two, and if so, what is the difference, and then how does that change the way that we talk about questions like this? What our definition, because your answer to that question is probably going to depend on what your definition of beliefs and what your definition of faith is. Some of you, if you had the same definition, perhaps you would have a different answer. You know, it might not even be that you disagree with someone on something. It's just you have a different definition of what certain words mean. And I think that's something that's really important to think about in all conversations before we enter into a debate with someone. This is what any sort of scientist or any philosopher will do. We need to define the terms first. So I think that's super important. Anyway, welcome everyone to Q&J Today. This is the show where I hop on to answer or respond to your questions. So as we're getting started, you can start throwing questions over in the chat. I'm going to start pulling those and responding to those in just a minute. These can be questions about anything. These can be deep theological questions, like sort of we were just talking about there, or these can be light, fun, whatever questions. It doesn't matter. I am here. Whatever's going to bring you all the most joy and value today, that's what I am here to do. So with all that being said, start putting questions over in the chat. I do not promise to have all the answers, but I do promise to be as honest as I possibly can. Also, I want to let you all know that today's show, as with every show, we are brought to you by the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a great way for you to get your question answered today. I will answer every question that comes in with a Super Chat, but also it's a great way for you to help support this channel in a small but very, very meaningful way. Every single dollar that is given in the Super Chat goes directly towards this channel, goes directly towards helping me continue to be able to make these videos. Am I freezing right now? Ooh, I think I know why. Hold on. I can fix. Hold on, everyone. I'm going to stop this. My computer was doing something else, and I think I was just like overdoing it a little bit. Yes. No, I want to stop. Sorry, everyone. Pause for a moment. Okay, I think we're good. Quit that. Save that. Quit that. Okay, that should improve our stream quality here. I think it will. I really think it will. Anyway, I was saying we're brought to you by the Super Chat. The Super Chat, it's a great way for you to give $1, $2, $5, $10, $20. And every single dollar given goes straight towards this channel, helps me to continue to do videos like this, continue to make videos. And so with that being said, the way that you give in the Super Chat, it's located just under where you type something into the chat. Yeah, you do that. There's a little money symbol. You do that. You give $1, $2, $20. Makes a big difference. I would so appreciate it. Now that all that's out of the way, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Let's answer some questions. Susie Gunther, thank you so much for your super chat, Susie. I so appreciate it. Good to see you again. I saw a question from Hart Spain. Are you still leaving YouTube? No, I was never leaving YouTube. It was just something I was sort of playing around with and discerning last year of whether this work on YouTube was going to continue to be part of my full-time job and full-time ministry, or whether it was going to become a nights and weekends ministry and I was going to get a more traditional job. But Sweet Bear and I, we talked about it, we prayed about it for a long time, and we decided that this is sort of where we continue to feel God moving and leading us. And so I'm continuing to be bought into this work here on YouTube, as well as the work that I do traveling around and speaking and teaching and things like that. So good question. Ella asked, go to Starbucks order. So this has recently changed. I used to be a black coffee guy. Now I am a grande Americano. That's it, just grande Americano. I've fallen in love with Americanos. I was in Houston earlier this year, and a friend of mine ordered, my friend and I, our orders got mixed up, and I got an Americano on accident, and I started drinking it, and it is so good. It was so delicious. I really loved it. It's just a little smoother than coffee, and so I decided to then switch to Americano. This cup is a little dirty. Whoops. All righty. Araminta Williams. Araminta asks, thank you for the super chat, first of all. I so appreciate it. It's just, you are always so generous in the super chat. So it almost seemed like, oh, obviously, Araminta, thank you very much. I so appreciate it. You're a faithful viewer and a faithful giver. Hopefully I can be faithful in answering this question. Are churches supposed to have dress codes, such as you can't wear leggings or you can't have a specific hairstyle? This is a really good question. So there is a lot coming out nowadays and recently about purity culture. And specifically when I was growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a movement of what people are calling purity culture in the church. And a lot of it was geared specifically towards women and the clothes that women or young girls would wear. And there were heavy rules put on things like bikinis or any sort of, shirt that was too revealing, or skirts or shorts that were, perhaps too short or whatever it was. And it was more than just what girls were wearing. It was also this heavy culture of, the greatest sin anyone could ever commit would be to have sex before marriage. It was really a movement within the church. And I think that is where a lot of the discussions and debates surrounding modesty have come. I think a lot of them were born out of this movement. And I think that movement was, like most movements in church culture, was founded in a good, honest place where what we were trying to do is we were trying to encourage people to view their bodies in a way that says, I am something that God has made. I am a creation of God. And so I want to portray that to the world. And my body is an instrument. It is a vessel. Literally, the Bible talks about our bodies as a temple, meaning that the Spirit of God, the presence of God literally dwells within us. And so this idea of being, quote unquote, dressing modestly, I think it was founded with the idea of, let's make sure we're treating this temple of God in a way that honors him. Unfortunately, I think it turned into these fundamentalist rules and these rules and regulations that were more focused on shaming people for the choices that they were making in terms of what they were wearing, rather than calling out who God actually created them to be. And so that, I think, is some of the history of it, and why we even have questions like this, Araminta, of, is it okay for a church to tell people what they should wear and what they shouldn't wear? I don't think so. I don't think, because I don't think that's the problem underneath it. I think if you are a church and you are making rules and telling specifically women what they can wear on Sunday and what they can't wear on Sunday, I think you are setting yourself up to send a lot of people away. You're going to have a lot of people leave your church, and not for good reasons. Rather, I think it's more important for churches to be encouraging people and leading people and moving people forward in their relationship with Jesus. And as a result of that, perhaps we see the way that they think about, or the way that people think about what they wear, or the way people think about their dating lives, or whatever it might be. As a result of moving forward and closer to Jesus, that changes, that should change, it should transform the way we live our lives. So that's what I would say. We got a bunch of super chats coming in. Want to say thank you to Miranda Creel. Thanks so much, Miranda. Thank you to Cole under his pseudonym. Thank you to Hart Spain and Josh in Jesus. Thank you all so much for your super chats. I want to get to your questions right now. Question: I asked my kids at youth to ask me what topic they would like me to preach, and one of the topics were why I'm here and what's my purpose as a Christian. I need help. Really, really good question. First of all, Miranda, I think it's awesome that you are asking those students, what do you want to hear? That's huge. That's awesome. In terms of creating a sermon or creating some teaching surrounding why I'm here or what is my purpose as a Christian, I highly, highly, highly recommend looking into the content of Tim and John and the team at the Bible Project, specifically one of their most recent series. Oh no, it wasn't a recent one. They did one on Image of God, and a lot of it deals with what is our role as humans. Why did God create humans? And to give you a little glimpse into it, a lot of it was God created humans to rule the earth alongside and underneath him. That was God's original intention, I believe, for humans. And so as a Christian, as a follower of Christ, and as a son of God, I think that is part of that. So that's like a surface level, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check out Image of God, the Image of God series from the Bible Project. I think it will perhaps start to point you in hopefully the right direction. So I'll be praying for that, Miranda. That's really cool. Let's see. Hart Spain says, God bless, and may the Lord shine his radiant face upon you forever and always. Love you, brother in Christ. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. That really means a lot. Josh wants to know, what's up, man? I'm doing a live stream. What's up with you? Miri, thank you so much for the super chat. I so appreciate it. I'm going through a season of doubting my faith right now. Are there any books of the Bible that you would recommend reading / studying in a time like that? That's interesting. Any books of the Bible that I would recommend reading during a season where you're struggling with doubt? I would recommend diving into the Gospels and perhaps, and this is just right off the top of my head, but I would recommend, if you're looking for specifically a book of the Bible to read, I would recommend diving into the Gospels and seeing if you can read them with a fresh lens, fresh eyes, seeing if you can read them and just try and take Jesus for exactly who he is presented to be in the Gospels and see what you think of him. Just see what you think. and see if you think it's worth continuing to read and continuing to find out who Jesus is, more and more of who he is. In terms of other literature, there's a really great book by John Ortberg called Faith and Doubt. I highly, highly recommend that. And then I'm reading a book right now called The Skeptical Believer by a guy named Daniel Taylor. Really, really interesting, actually talking about how doubt in and of itself is actually a neutral thing. Doubt is actually not a bad thing, because there are some really good doubts that we have. For example, if I jump off a cliff, I doubt I'm going to survive. It's a really good doubt to have. Doubt can actually keep us safe in times, in certain instances. Other times, doubt can hurt us and make us too hesitant. And so Daniel Taylor dives into that way more in the book. And it's very, very, very interesting. I'm about a quarter of the way through it right now. So yeah, I'd recommend that. Let's see. Chicken X99. Thanks so much for the super chat. I so appreciate it. I'm preaching and I'm in high school. Any tips? Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, tips for preaching. I would say start with sharing your story. Don't feel this pressure to be this unbelievable, don't feel this pressure to be this like unbelievable theologian or to have all this wise counsel as a preacher, especially when you're in high school. I think when you're young, especially like for me, feel free to lean on the story that God is telling in your life. Feel free to use, your whole preaching as, hey, here's a story of what God is teaching me right now. Here's a story of what God has done in my life. I think, especially when you're first starting out, heavily leaning on, the testimony that God has given you. I think that's a really smart idea because it takes this pressure off to be this like wise counselor, especially when you're not ready for it. All right. Were Jesus' farts considered a holy aroma? I think so. I really think so. I don't even know how to answer that question. All right. Nathan asked, do you believe the Holy Eucharist is just symbolic or it's actually blood and body of Jesus Christ? Nathan, I think we might disagree on this because I believe, Nathan, if I remember correctly, you are Catholic, and a lot of Catholics I know, they believe that it is literal, that it is actually the blood and body. I think it is symbolic. I think, but the fact that it is symbolic to me does not make it any less important. I think there were only a few sort of rituals and traditions, physical acts that Jesus gave us and commanded that we do those things. Baptism being one of them, and the Eucharist, or the bread and the cup, communion, being the other one. And so just because I believe that it is symbolic of his body and his blood doesn't mean I take it any less seriously. I think it doesn't mean that I view it as any less of a sacred act to come and to take the bread and take the cup and remember the sacrifice that Jesus made in order to set us free, in order to give us what the Bible calls salvation. Yeah, so that's my belief on it. It's my belief. So many good questions. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sorry, I'm looking for another question. AH asks, I'm preaching too, and I get the same question. How do I separate my life and my religion? Any tips on that one? I'm not sure what you mean when you say separating my life and my religion. I think the first thing, if you're going to preach on something like that, would really be to make sure that you are defining the word religion for your audience, because the mistake that we make when we use a word like religion is we think that everyone has the same definition of that word as we do. There are some people for whom religion and faith are the same word. Their definitions are synonymous. And then there are other people, when they use the word religion, they are talking about man-made systems, corrupt man-made systems that people have put on top of the Bible and used faith in God as a means to their own ends. Those are just two of many different definitions that I believe people have on religion. So if you're going to talk about religion at all in a sermon, I think the first thing to do is define it for your audience. Not that you have the right definition, but say, just so everyone knows, let's clarify, when I use the word religion in this sermon, here's what I mean, blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense? I think that's super, super important. Alrighty then. Alrighty, everyone. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. I think I have to get back to work. So thank you to everyone who asked questions. Thanks to everyone who came and hung out. I think we had a really great talk today. I so appreciate it. Your questions, they always challenge me. They always force me to think perhaps a little bit more critically about my faith. And I apologize for perhaps any of my answers that were maybe inaccurate or would lead anyone astray. I pray that they have not. Brian asked, thanks, Brian, for your super chat. Yeah, you can send me an email. Here is my email right here, johnjorgensen3@gmail.com. You can send me an email there anytime. Thank you all. Thanks to everyone who asked questions. Thank you to everyone who gave in the super chat. Thanks to everyone who showed up to watch. I really enjoyed it. I'm traveling to North Carolina this weekend. If you're in the Charlotte area, I'll be speaking on Saturday night there. You can find the info at my website, johnjorgensen.com. I'll also be in the Raleigh-Durham area on Sunday. I'm speaking at the Bridge Church there. And then I'll also be speaking at an event called Max Out the Max on Sunday night. Again, all that information, it's on my website, johnjorgensen.com. You should go check it out. I would love to see you. If you're in the Raleigh-Durham or Charlotte area, that would be awesome. All right. Love y'all. Bye. End.